Um, well, it depends on how the guy, like, I guess, like, how he takes his, I don't wanna say fetish, but um,
Desire?
his interest or his
Okay.
preference,
Right,
because I think there's a
preference.
difference between a fetishy, like, tranny
Mhm,
chaser and
mhm.
a straight man whose preference is like a
True.
trans woman, um, you
Just like
know?
preference as, like, brunette, blonde,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Because, I mean, I've seen guys like that too, like, where they're like,
Mhm.
they just prefer they don't even have a reason, and then
Right,
they can be post-op, they could be pre-op, they could be anything. It's
right.
just they prefer a trans woman, and I've
Mhm.
had, I've either saw interviews or had conversations with guys, they just prefer, well, this is what they say. They
Yeah.
prefer, like, trans women because they embrace their femininity
Mhm.
and
I've
that
heard that
they
I've heard that before, that we're
yeah,
ultra feminine, and that's
yeah,
what they're attracted to. They're attracted to our femininity, which
yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does make sense to me.
Mhm.
And they like the fact that, yeah, that we're ultra feminine, but yeah, I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
get it because I'm attracted to super masculine, I would say most of the time men, but occasionally there would be like a super masculine female, and I'm just like, Why do I feel this way? Like, what's happening?" But it's because that person's so masculine that I can't deny liking that part.
Mhm.
That's
No,
like, you know
there are some, like, people that I follow on, like, IG that have, like,
Mhm.
that are technically women, but they're, like, they have, like, a masculine energy,
That
and
masculine swag,
yeah, and I'm like,
you
"She's
know?
cute." Like, I get it, but I mean, I wouldn't go anything further than that.
Right,
That's
of
just
course.
me. But I've also, like, do you feel like some trans women,
Mhm.
they're, like, so over the tranny chaser that they end up dating, like, another trans person? I mean, look like Gigi Gorgeous, you know?
Well, yes, I guess, because, well, when they
Like, they're
started
over the
dating
games. They're like, "Fuck it. I'm just gonna date another trans person," because 'Cause I've
well,
seen
that
that happen.
yeah, but I don't think, her partner was trans at the time.
Yeah, but
Like, that whole
she was
transi
serving masculine energy.
True,
She
true.
was that masculine energy that I spoke of,
True, true, true.
you know?
Well, I have heard of, like, trans women dating trans men.
Trans Yes. Yes,
Like, there
I've
was
seen
I forgot what model it was. The one that came for Kendall Jenner. She dated that trans model who was just featured in Taylor Swift's video as her love interest, Ashley something.
Oh, Laith Ashley?
Laith Ashley, which, I mean, he's hot.
He is, and did you know he helped me sign up for Medicaid
What?
when Yes.
You know Laith Ashley?
I mean, I'm not, like, BFFs with him, but I, like, literally at Cal and Laura in New York, there was a point where I didn't have a job,
Yeah.
and I was, like, on unemployment, but I still had to get the fish food girl, and
That's
so
a
I
fish food.
Yes, so
Wait. You call it fish food? I can't. I really
the fish
cannot.
food. So I had to go to Callan-Lorde, which Callan-Lorde, for anyone that doesn't know, is like a clinic, like a
Mhm.
huge LGBT clinic in Chelsea in Manhattan, and
Community
it's
clinic.
literally where all the girls go. I saw like Carmen Carrera there. I
Girl,
think Megan Fox went
everyone.
there. Isis went there. Like, girl, everybody went there.
Girl, everybody.
Everybody, and they will help you out even if you don't have insurance. They'll, like,
Yeah,
make things work for you.
absolutely.
So I was with my doctor, and then I was like, "Oh," he was, like, trying to give me some prescription. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do that prescription because I don't have insurance, blah, blah, blah." And then he was like, "Why don't you just sign up for, like, Medicaid?" I'm like, "Where?" And then, I mean, I was really naive back then. And
Yeah.
then he was like, "There's a stall. There's literally a table downstairs on the first floor where you can sign up. And it's like geared towards like trans people to help
Oh,
them get the
wow.
resources to
Yeah.
transition, even if you don't have a job, X, Y, and Z." So I
Was he
go
there
down
as a
there,
he was there
huh?
as a patient?
I guess, I mean, a patient and a worker because I went down to that table
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hi, my doctor upstairs told me to come down and sign up because I don't have insurance, whatever." And then he was like, "Yeah, yeah, of course, come take a seat." So I'm sitting down with him and I'm like, "Oh, this like good looking gay guy." That's why I was my initial reaction was like, "Oh, he's a cute little gay guy." He was because he's like what, Dominican or something?
Yeah, he is Dominican,
Yeah,
yes.
he's Dominican. I was like, "He's cute." And then we were talking, and then we were mentioning, like, hormones and, like, the best insurance because we were trying to pick the best insurance for me, and then he goes like, "Well, you should do this insurance because they're the best with covering, like, hormones and stuff like that. That's what I use for my hormones." And then I was like, "Oh, wait, what do you mean? Why do you take hormones?" And then he goes like, "Oh, I'm trans." And then literally, not only me, but
Face crack.
right, but all the girls sitting around me, like waiting in line, they're like, "What? You're trans?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm trans." He was like, "I know, right? Like, that's what everyone says." And I was like, because this is how unexposed I was to like trans men. Is like I think literally he was the first trans man I ever met.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure you've met a lot, you just didn't know.
that's what he said. So I was like, "You're the first trans guy I've ever met." And then he goes like, "You know what? You've probably met a lot. You just didn't realize that they were trans." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, testosterone. Testosterone did the damn thing."
Yes,
I was
it
like,
did him well because he is a good-looking man.
"Yes." So is he dating a trans woman?
He did, dated that model, who's kind of problematic. I'm
Oh,
not a big huge
why are they
fan.
always problematic?
Not a huge fan. She'll probably come for me after she sees this. Um,
Oh,
I forgot her name,
what's her
honestly.
name? I'm like looking it
It
up.
starts with E, maybe Elise something. Girl, I don't
Oh,
remember.
mm,
They were,
okay.
like, in a
Well,
reality show together.
oh,
Let's look up Laith Ashley and what he's done, and then maybe we can look at, who he's been casted with.
oh.
You're
I
gonna
mean,
know. You're gonna know who I'm talking about. You're gonna roll your eyes so back.
so FYI, that's Laith Ashley. So
Hottie.
you
He's
guys
so
can
hot.
that's Laith Ashley. Yeah, exactly. That's a trans man,
He's
ladies and gentlemen.
gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And he was just like I said, uh Taylor Swift's love interest in one of her singles, her
Oh,
latest single in the video,
cute.
which I think is like super iconic.
Yeah.
I don't think that's oh here Aris Wasner.
Oh, I don't know her.
Wanzer. Sorry. Aris Wanzer. Here, I'm gonna forward you.
Or how do you spell her name?
I'm
Oh,
I feel like you've seen her.
it's like not me knowing her. Hold on.
She did an open letter to Kendall Jenner when Kendall Jenner was on the rise of her model
Oh,
career. You see, I told
yes.
you.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, that
oh,
one. That one.
okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Hmm.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about
Listen,
her.
we're
I
not
just
gonna be everyone's fan, okay? And I'm just like I'm not fan of a lot of people. People are not gonna be a
that's
fan of me. So
right. Like some like not every cis person has to like every cis celebrity out there
eh,
either.
thank you.
Okay. But that's a topic of another discussion of like of trans people in the eye of the public and who we like
Ooh,
and who we don't like.
that's gonna be a juicy
That's gonna
one.
be a good one.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll talk about that.
I
But
already have the people. I already have the people I wanna talk about.
is it bad that I'm struggling trying to
What? Uh-oh, hell no.
I
Well,
know.
there's definitely people you dislike, but,
Well,
like,
yeah.
do you like anyone?
We'll talk about that in the next video.
Anyways, Trannychasers.
Jenny Jesus.
Back to the chasing of the trannies.
Yes. But yeah, I feel like yeah, tranny chasers are just about like that the idea of what a trans woman is versus
Mhm.
like um about like who that trans woman is. It's
Correct.
not what she is, it's about who
Mhm.
she is
Right.
or vice versa. Sorry, I meant to
Mhm.
say it's about what she is that they're obsessed with rather than who she is.
Do you appreciate when guys well, when you used to date, when guys used to tell you, "Oh, I've dated trans girls before." Did that
Mm,
bother you?
it was a little bit of a red flag.
Automatic, obviously.
Yeah, I was like, really?
Which ones? Maybe I
Which
know
one?
them.
Right, which ones? Because I probably know that hoe.
Here in New York?
But right. So,
Mm, yeah, I know.
so yeah,
Well, I
that's why
mean,
it's so hard to just find a guy that's just will love you unconditionally.
yeah. I mean, they're out there, but they're very few,
Yeah.
like literally a handful.
And there has to be like, I guess like a certain degree, like dare I say that no matter what, like
Mm.
there's a certain degree of tranny chaser in every guy that would date a trans person.
You know,
Or would you disagree with
yes
me?
and no, but you did tap into, what I don't consider a trendy chaser is someone that genuinely feeds off femininity and finds themselves more attracted to trans women because of that. And
Mhm.
I feel like those type of guys are not necessarily looking for trans women. If they happen to meet one, they just happen to meet one. Because a lot of what from my experience, a lot of them have also dated ultra feminine women, cis women.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
true.
thin line. There's a very thin line between a tranny chaser and a non-tranny chaser.
Right. That is definitely a conversation. That is something that I would like to just sit down with a cis hetero male
Mhm.
that is interested in a trans woman, like that isn't Phil.
I was just gonna say, aren't you dating someone?
That isn't Phil. Like who's currently like out there trying to date. Like I would like to sit and talk to him and like what is the other side of the coin? You know
Not me
what I
trying to pick
mean?
him up.
Oh, not you putting your ad out.
Tranny looking for a
Tranny
non-tranny chaser.
podcast. Tranny podcast looking for cis straight male that are interested in trans women for a future episode.
Call me Ladyboy if you like.
Ew, speak for yourself. I
Uh,
mean,
I don't know.
but yeah. So I personally am very annoyed by tranny chasers.
Yeah. Well, it's a
Be-
trigger. They've literally um traumatized us.
oh, super traumatized. Yeah. Have you had any other experiences with a tranny chaser? Like your exes, would you consider them chasers?
Hmm. Let's see. My first boyfriend, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that I was a stepstone to him dating Mel. I think that he was
Being what?
so being gay. Like just,
Oh,
he used me as a stepstone to
I think you told me about him
to
once.
it was like his like first door to open other doors to lead him into being with men. And he had a big issue with me having my surgery. He thought that I was not going to have it for him.
Oh,
And he made this whole ordeal and then like made me feel guilty. And I was like, first of all, this ain't about you, boo.
right.
I'm gonna get the surgery with or without you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's yeah. But yeah, I found he had created a profile on this like gay website, and he was looking for guys.
Oh,
I confronted him about it. He lied, obviously, but of course it ended right after that. So I was just like, in my head, I already was like, it was set, like he was gay. But
right.
he ended up marrying a cis women, a cis female, having a baby, and it's still low key DL.
Oh my god, that's just too many complicated issues. I can't.
It's just
So,
like, dude, just be yourself. Who fucking cares?
okay. Why do people have such a hard time with that?
I
And
don't
I feel
know.
the majority of tranny chasers are just so ashamed of themselves that everything
Mhm.
has to be hidden instead of just embracing what they like. And it's
Right.
so annoying. Like if the majority of like quote unquote tranny chasers just accepted that and accepted what they liked and didn't give a fuck with what society thought of them, they could probably find real love, true
Oh,
love.
absolutely. There's so
You
many
know what I
girls out
mean?
there looking for love, and we're ready to give it. So that's the part
Yeah.
that I don't understand. You're so caught up in like worrying about what other people are saying about you or thinking about
Right.
you. And you
Yeah.
rather be unhappy than be happy with someone that's ready to love you.
Girl. There's some
That
uh,
part.
I feel like men's like male sexuality is so complicated
Mm,
and it's so many different layers of issues and things that they had to deal with versus like female sexuality. I feel like female
mhm.
sexuality is definitely like more like laid out on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there
There's
are women
no
out there that are like,
yeah, right.
have like that have like a weird like multi-layered sexuality. But with men, there's you don't know what's boiling under.
I mean, you don't because
You don't.
with men, it all starts with boys don't cry, toughen up, be a
Right.
man. That type of like
And then
toxic,
expectations.
correct, toxic masculinity and expectations from a
Like
young
getting
age.
married, having like that,
Yeah.
perfect family. But then they see a little porn movie in their 20s and of like a chick with a dick and suddenly like the like
Not the
the
chick with the
doors open
dick.
and
Oh
like
my
all
God.
excuse me, that is exactly what they see and what they think when they
A
first
she-male.
a sheep. I hate all these words. These words are just too much.
Ah,
She-male, ladyboy, it's just too much. I can't.
transsexual.
Right. Just yeah. So I feel like like the oppression of it all was just
Yeah.
too much. It's like
All
just
I can do
accept
now is just
yourself.
laugh about it. I used to
Right.
get so annoyed and
Until
so
you're
like
like crying and heartbroken hearted by some guy that like made you believe otherwise.
well, yeah, of course. There's been many moments, many occasions where that's happened, but I've just it doesn't bother me anymore.
What doesn't bother you?
Um, like this trying to crave the attention of these men that are not worth my time or waste my time with men who are still trying to figure it out. Like I'm just like, okay, bye. I don't have time for that.
Right, because you're older and more mature.
Yeah.
Where we went through it. And it's funny when I see like the girls in their 20s and I see what they're doing to get the attention of men. It's so funny because
Mm.
I'm like, been there, done that. I know exactly what you're doing. So, you
Pull down
know,
your skirt. I can see your niblets.
oh, what? Not the niblets.
I'm just saying, like, when girls start dressing up, they have to wear like the skankiest clothes.
Always.
I mean,
Always and
I was
forever.
there, I did that, of course,
Yes.
and
Yes, you
I feel like I
did.
had to do that to, like, feel feminine and, like, that's the only way I thought that I could be a girl, to dress like a skank.
Right, and when I see the young dolls, when I see them, they just look girl, I'm
It's
just
like
like, "What is this, like, stripper look that is so popular in your age group?" It's like this Gen Z. They all wanna look like, it's more like it's like a stripper mixed with that whole Euphoria vibe.
Right,
I feel.
right.
That's what I feel like Kim Petras serves. She kinda gives me that Euphoria meets a stripper vibe. Am I wrong? Like
Well, keep in mind, okay, I think how I see it is that when you know how teenagers dress, like you
yeah.
go through these phases, and
Yes.
because a lot of trans women don't come out until their early 20s or into their 20s, they're trying to remake that part. And in this sense, we become teenagers because, our bodies have to go through yet another hormonal change.
Yeah.
And
It's like another
yeah,
adolescence.
correct.
Yeah, and then you're kind of embracing being like a teenager, but
In your
in
20s.
yeah, in your 20s, but, like, in the form that you wanted to be in when you
Mm,
were a teenager.
right.
Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're still trying to figure out who you are
Yeah, and I
as a
feel like
trans person and then figure out who you are as a person.
but you know what? I don't even feel like it has anything to do with even being young and in your 20s because I think anyone that transitions in
You're
their
right, yes.
first 5
Yeah,
5
yeah.
years or so, they all dress all weird and skanky,
It is
and they could be
yeah,
50, you know what I
that's so
mean?
true, actually, yeah, you're right,
Yeah, and I've seen
yeah.
some trans women where, like, they're, like, 50 years old, like, they're serving Caitlyn Jenner, like, age, and they'll wear, like, tight dresses and high heels and, like, over the top makeup. I'm like, "Girl." But I
Yeah,
let her. I'm like, "Okay, girl, do you," because you have to kinda go through that.
I guess,
It
yeah.
doesn't I mean, is it cute? No, not
No.
necessarily, but it's kind of like a growing, stage.
The
Yeah, the
growing
growing
pains.
pains. Like, you have to go through that to realize that it's not cute, and it's not who you are. Like, you know, your hyper femininity doesn't make up
Mhm,
who you are as a woman.
right, and that takes a while to figure out.
It does. It does because of the validation of,
Oof.
like of men. Like,
Yeah,
literally,
absolutely. That's what
that's
it
what
falls
it
down to,
is.
yeah, to these
It's about
tranny chasers.
the tranny chasers, like, you are part of that horrible cycle because as a young trans person, and I say young as in a person who just transitioned, they need
Correct.
that validation of feeling feminine.
Yeah.
So they find it within these, like, tranny chasers
Mhm. Who
that
take
feed that,
advantage.
that take
Yep.
advantage
Mhm.
of these women that are, like, that are needing that attention,
Oof.
right?
Mhm.
And then you realize, "Fuck them, I don't need their attention to validate my womanhood," you know?
Not me having a therapy session.
Not that. Not you having a breakthrough when
I'm
you're
like
38.
I'm like
You're like, "Wait, so I didn't have to be a slut?" I'm like, "Yes, girl."
Oh my god.
But
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, but I don't know, what kind of advice would you give somebody who is just transitioned or
Mhm.
in their first 5 years of transitioning? Like, what would you tell them about these tranny chasers?
Oof. Do not rely on them to make you feel like you're a woman, honestly, because that's probably why we succumb to doing all these ugly things
Yeah.
for their attention, for, you know,
Those demeaning
the
things.
demeaning things.
Demeaning.
just to have a man look at you in a certain way, and it's not worth it. It really is not. You're better than that. And you will
Yeah,
be better than that. It's ugly at first transitioning. It's very hard, very difficult, physically, emotionally, financially, emotionally. Do you before you even consider bringing any kind of man into
right.
your life.
And
That's
it's
my
one thing
advice.
if you just want to participate because, on the other side of things, it takes two to tango, and
Well, yeah.
the girl, like,
But I mean, I'm
is
talking to the
probably
ones who
like,
are
"I
looking
don't
for
care, I
love.
wanna have fun." You know what I mean? Because I know a few dolls that are like, "I just have fun with them, I don't take it seriously like that." And I'm like,
That's what they
"Okay."
say. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like it's part of their journey. They have
I
to, like,
guess.
you know
I mean, I understand that's part of their journey, but looking back, I would do a lot of things differently.
Right.
Obviously, I don't think anyone would, but I would do my transitional part differently, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I
think
would
it
take it
all
slower.
yeah. And I think it has a lot to do with not only the need and want of like attention from a man, but and like the need to be loved by a man to validate
Mhm.
oneself. But I think it has a lot to do with someone's love for themselves.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't love themselves.
No.
And I think that has a lot to do with their actions because
Mhm.
they either probably grew up in a family maybe that didn't accept them for who they
Right.
were, a
True.
society that like looks down at them and demeans them, and it's hard for them to like look in the mirror and love themselves, so they find that temporary love through these gross guys that are totally taking advantage of them.
Uh, well, yes, they're taking full advantage because they know these guys they're predators,
Yeah, they are.
and they're using this insecurity to make them do whatever they want at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And a lot of these relationships are very toxic. I've known a lot of girls that have gotten into relationships that were super abusive and just ugly. I mean,
Right.
I, for one, was in one of them. And that's another topic that,
That's
yeah.
another hour-long conversation.
Oh, girl. Yes.
But
May he
yeah,
rest
and
in peace.
if you when I try to find solutions to these kind of issues or what advice I would give,
Hmm.
I think that's why I think it's so important that trans women like stick together in terms of being advice givers, being like
Hmm.
mothers to these
Hmm.
younger trans women because they can get lost very easily and that can go down the road of prostitution, drug use, be dead before they're 25. You know what I mean? And that happens a lot, unfortunately. And I that's why I think like sisterhood between all of us is
Hmm.
important
Hmm.
because we're not 20 years old anymore and we made it out the other end okay.
Oof, girl.
You know what I mean?
Abso-fucking-lutely. I know.
And that's pretty hard. That's an accomplishment. So to the fact that we've come out the other end like fairly normal and working jobs and not having to sell our bodies or do anything that demeans us is a huge accomplishment. And that's why it's important for people that have come out of the other end to reach out to those young girls and to let them know, you don't have to do that.
Right. I
And that's
agree.
yeah, and that's something that I see um here in Vegas is there's no community. And I don't know how Houston is, but coming from New
Mm,
York has such a strong community, right? Like there's like
yeah.
the LGBTQ community is very like prevalent. It's everywhere around you pretty much there's always someone to talk to. And here, I feel like the girls are on their own.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved here, I'm like, I was looking for a doctor because that's so important for girls like us. We have to know like where do we
I
go?
know. I'm still looking for one here.
Right. So comment down below for Desiree's if you guys know any good
I
doctors in the
just would
Houston area.
prefer, I mean, I know there's like the community, there's Legacy, I believe that's what it's called, but I want someone more private. I think I've evolved to where like I just want to feel normal and I don't want to feel like super trans, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that feeling, like, I don't want to put it down. I don't want to put like our community down, but at the same time, I just want it to feel normal.
But you know what? I went to a doctor that was like regular,
Mm-hmm.
and they were willing to help me, like, and go to their offices. I felt like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Oh,
I was like, girl, I was used to like we were spoiled going to Calum Lord too because they were on point. They knew
yeah, they
exactly what to
were.
do.
That's true. They know where to
They
prick.
covered all the bases. I mean, they made sure that all the bases were covered,
Yeah.
and there was no hesitation. But at the
Mm.
first doctor that I had in Vegas here, like they were open-minded and cool, but at the same time there was hesitation. I could sense the hesitation
Right, right, right.
where I was giving them my prescription
You're
because
like,
they
just
didn't.
give me this.
I was like, well, this is
Give
what
me a
happened
90
in
day.
Calendar. They gave me X, Y, and Z. They gave me these pills, and they get my blood work every 3 months. So if you guys could do that for me,
Yeah.
you know, and I
Well,
was like, okay, this is not it. If I'm telling them my own like treatment,
yeah. Well,
then
I'm on a wait list for this doctor that he's not taking any new patients. So
oh,
I know. I mean, I don't need that much. I just need estradiol, and I take a very low dosage to keep my
your
hormone level.
jawline nice and cut, girl.
How dare you?
Soften those edges.
I mean, they
Okay.
they do wonders, okay?
Estrogen's the bomb.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry. Okay, like if I don't take estrogen for like 6 months, I turn back into pumpkin. Literally. I'm like, oh, what's going
you're like,
on?
"Ah."
I'm like, my hair. Like my hair starts falling out. I'm like, oh girl, this is not cute.
Oh,
This is
no.
not cute. So, but yeah, I mean, I think going back to what we were talking about, I feel like
Mhm.
we need to support the younger generation and making
Yeah,
sure that we take
absolutely.
them under their wing, even though I
Absolutely.
will say that I am hesitant when to take like, the girls under my wing sometimes because sometimes they
Mhm.
like to take advantage. But the way I do it, I like to give advice and like walk away. Because sometimes it
They were
becomes
too
too
stunned to
much.
speak.
Before you know it, they're asking for money. Can we see it at your
Oh,
place? I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
girl,
Well,
I'm not your actual mother. Okay. Like,
true, true. I do have one daughter who turned out to be great, but she did go through her stages of like
mhm.
shopping at Candies, which is like a novelty store, a sex novelty store.
Mm,
She
okay.
would find all her outfits there, all her stripper heels. She would be shaking her ass every chance she got. And now she's like a Houston housewife. Like you would not be able to tell that this bitch was twerking
Not
like a few
twerking.
years ago on the pool table. Like, you know.
Right.
Yeah. She now sends Christmas cards with like her man and her dogs and like their beautiful house that's decorated and like it's like
She's like the suburban housewife.
she is the suburban Houston housewife.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
right,
like,
girl.
bitch, I met you before you were
She's doing her thing. She's repping in the positive light.
yeah. She's
Okay.
gonna hate me. Maybe we should not use her name.
I'll bleep it out.
Please bleep that out.
I'm like, hey, yeah, beep.
Please do me that favor. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I didn't have anyone to look up to when I started transitioning, so I had to figure out everything on my own.
right.
And it was hard because every trans girl that I met was working the streets or trying to give me bad advice, trying to like make me get hormones off the market, the black market, trying to get me to get pumped here and there. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa, whoa.
no,
What
that's
kind of
too
advice is
much.
this? Like, I'm just asking how you're doing. Like, I don't need to know all that.
Right.
And now I find it to be very easy. Like, there's so much, exposure. There's so much, articles that you can read. There's so many people who are open about it. I feel like it's way easier now to come out as trans as it was, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, when I was, a teenager, I didn't even know what a trans person was.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't know what a trans person was until my mid-20s.
Well, until I
Or my
met one.
Yeah. And then I never thought in a million years, I was like, "Oh, no, that's too much." But then I had friends that kept insisting, like, "No." And people would think I'm trans with I didn't even try to be trans.
Well, people just thought I was a girl, and then
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
I remember where was I? I was, like, I was at the line at the bathroom in Old Navy. It's so random. But there was this long line of guys waiting because it was only a bathroom where only is like one person at a time could use it, and I was
Yeah.
waiting in the line of guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and this is before I even transitioned. And then I was next. I went up, and then when I walked into the bathroom, all the men in the line were like, "Ma'am, you're going into the wrong bathroom." And I remember I was like, "No, I'm not." I closed the door. Oh, and
You
it took
closed the door, you were like,
maybe
"Maybe?"
like
Uh,
I close the door and I look in the mirror and I'm like, yes, yes, I am in the wrong door.
Oof.
Absolutely.
I don't remember the last time I went into male bathroom. That
Yeah,
wasn't at a gay club.
okay. That's another thing. The difference between men's restrooms and women's restrooms.
Ugh, girl,
Because
that's another story.
I know because we had that experience of using both. So we can tell you what happens in both. Okay. So
But for the
absolutely.
most part, they both have pee on the floor.
Mm,
Both.
that's true. Well, women have more than pee. They have something
Ew.
else. I see that all the time, girl. I'm like, oh,
Girl, there's little trash cans right there.
use a tissue, girl, if you drip. You know what I mean?
I
Uh,
mean, everything's
that's
provided for you, so I don't understand.
I don't understand. But then again, men are the same thing. Like they
The
piss all
toilet
over
paper
the.
is right there.
I know. So does public restrooms are nasty.
Yes, they just are. I hate them.
Right. All right, guys. Well, can you believe we've been talking for an hour about tranny chasers?
I mean, that's a really hot
I
topic.
So, I'm sure some of you out there are have always wondered what a tranny chaser was, and I'm sure
Mhm.
there are probably a couple of tranny chasers watching this right now as we speak,
I mean,
and
duh.
hopefully, and hopefully we described them to the best we could. And if you
Mhm.
do agree or disagree, we would love for you to comment down below. And if you found this podcast slash YouTube video entertaining, we would love for you to subscribe and follow us on all of our social media on TikTok and IG at House of Tease. That is HAUSOFTEASE. All the information is down below in the description. And thanks again
Thank you
for
guys so
listening.
much. Till
See
next time.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.